Welcome back, Chapter 3. Chapter 3 is about equations in two variables. Now remember, there are three forms of equations that we deal with, three forms of linear equations, and that they are the standard form, ax plus by equals c, slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, and point-slope form, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. That is where x1, y1 is a point on the line with a slope of m. Well, what is slope? Do you remember what slope is? Slope is the change in y over the change in x. So if you take 2 points, and depending on where those 2 points are, think in terms of the vertical change over the horizontal change. Now if it goes, if it goes down to the right, it's a negative slope. If it goes up to the right, it's a positive slope. Is there more to learn in this chapter? Is there more to remember? There's always more to remember. And most of you do a pretty good job of attempting to remember it. And hopefully before the final exam, coming up very soon, you'll be ready for the items that appear from Chapter 3. Now this whole chapter is about rectangular, paired data and the rectangular coordinate system. That's section 1. All that means is graphing, okay? And I've already mentioned the three forms of graphs. But I'm going to do a couple of examples. We already understand the x and y intercept. It's where the line crosses the x-axis is the x-intercept. And where the line crosses the y-axis is the y-intercept. Why? Because I said so. So what else is in Chapter 3 that you need to know? How to find the slope of a line. There's a formula for it, but I've shown you several times how to just line up the 2 points. Look for the change in y over the change in x, and away you go. Let's see, what else? Converting from one form to another. That's an important concept. You need to know that. I'm just leafing through here to see what's going on, and are you following me? I'm on page 145. How about you? 146 now. The equation of a line. How interesting. We can create the equation of a line, but in a moment, I'm going to show you how you can move from one form of the linear equation. Remember, it's called linear because the graph is a line, a straight line. Let's see. So, how about this? I'm gonna start with 2 points. Okay. See, courage drives success. I dressed for the occasion. 2 points. 1, -4, and -3, 7. Now hopefully you can see that okay. Maybe I should write bigger. Or a nicer color. Oh, where's the red? Hello again. So we got 1, -4, -3, 7. Now remember, there is the formula where you have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So this is the slope formula. We talked about in Chapter 2, formulas, okay? But really, I don't do it that way. I just line them up like this. First, I decide which one of these points is further to the left on the graph, and that would be the -3. And so then I ask to go from +7 to -4. Am I going to go up or down? I'm going to go down, so it's going to be a negative slope. Quiet back there. Pay attention. Take some notes or go down to the RC. They want to see you today anyway. So if we look at this, we're looking for the change in y and the change in x. Green. That is, what's the distance from 7 to -4? And that's 11 And the distance from -3 to 1 is 4. So this slope is a negative 11/4 is the slope between those 2 points. Now, so that's the slope. But what if we want to actually create the equation? Well, the easiest, now that we have the slope and we have a point, is to use the point-slope form of the equation. So we're going to start plugging things in. Remember, the formula for point slope is y minus y1, so we can pick either one of these. I'm going to go ahead and pick this point, 1, -4. So I'm going to end up with plus 4, because remember it's y minus y1, so I got minus -4, equals -11/4 times x minus 1. So now that's the equation in point-slope form. Is that sufficient? Yeah. If all a person asked for was the equation of the line through those 2 points, that would work. But what if we wanted in slope-intercept form? Well, then we solve for y. Let's see. Let's distribute first. So we end up with -11/4 x plus 11/4. That's distributing this -11/4. And so we end up with y equals -11/4 x plus 11/4 minus 16/4. Notice that I converted the 4 into 16/4 because that's the same thing, and then I subtracted that from both sides. So I get final answer, y equals -11/4 x minus 5/4. -11/4 x minus 5/4. That is 11 minus 16. That's -5. Okay, are we done? Well, we've got 2 forms of the equation. We've got point-slope. We've got slope-intercept. But how about, let's try this. Let's try to put it into standard form. So take a look over here. I'm going to take that same equation from slope-intercept. We've got y equals -11/4 x minus 5/4. Remember, standard form is where we have x and y on the same side of the equation. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 11/4 x to both sides. So we get 11/4 x plus y equals -5/4. Now there's 2 things wrong with this. Remember? 2 things wrong. Anyone? Desiree? No? Okay, I'll tell you then. I'll remind you, because I'm sure everybody in here remembers this. To be in standard form, you cannot have a fraction. And you cannot have, that is a rational number, and you can't have a negative as the leading coefficient. Well, positive. So we don't have to worry about that. But what we're going to do is we're going to multiply through by 4, which will eliminate the denominators. We'll end up with 11x plus 4y equals -5. So we now have the equation in 3 forms. Given the 2 points, 1, -4,